Hello, I'm LandlessGuy. Now, some of you may know me on my channel for doing game commentaries, but today I wanted to do something different. I wanted to just talk about a current issue and, ask some questions and get people thinking. And the topic today I've chosen to talk about is fracking. Now, I don't have a script for this or anything, I'm just improvising really, but, I just want to do some talking and just think about this issue and think about what's going on with it at the moment, because it's in the news quite a bit. And yeah, it happens in some countries already, and in the UK they are considering using it as a method of fueling us for the future. But I ask, why? Why do we need to do this? And I'm just asking questions here. I am going to try and remain neutral in this. I'm going to try not to appear biased. Hopefully I won't offend anyone. I just want to try and keep it totally neutral and, or as neutral as I can really, and, not offend anyone, hopefully take everyone's views into account here. But like I say, I ask, why do we need it? Well, our oil and gas, it's running out. There isn't enough in the world anymore. It's formed over millions of years, but we're extracting it faster than it can be made. And at the moment, the UK, well, the North Sea gas is pretty much gone. We've not got much of that anymore, and we rely mainly on oil and gas from countries such as Russia and other places like that. I mean, I don't know an awful lot about where we get it from, but I know Russia has pipelines, and we get oil from the Middle East as well, the big oil producing countries there. And yes, they provide most of it, but as you can see, the UK wants to try and rely on its own, which I think is very honourable. It doesn't want to be, relying on other countries to produce its natural resources for it. It wants to try and use the resource it has. And of course we have an abundance of coal, but of course that's incredibly polluting. We don't want to go back to the days when coal was polluting the air for us. We want to try something different. But I ask here, why not try renewable energy? Why fracking? Why are we relying on this when, in fact, renewable energy is the way we should be going, really, as I believe? And for those of you who don't know, fracking is an attempt to retrieve shale gas. Now, shale gas is trapped in rocks under the ground, and this fracking process is basically pumping water under high pressure into these rocks, and in doing so forcefully breaks them and cracks them, releasing the gas, which is then collected and then can be burnt as fossil fuels and produce power for us. But like I say, why not renewable energy? We just have an abundance of natural areas where this can happen. Wind farms, possibly solar, that's questionable, but it could work. Tidal, hydroelectric, possibly. All of these could be used, and yet we still rely on fossil fuels. We're still trying to rely on fossil fuels, and nuclear power as well. I mean, nuclear power, yes, it's great. It is renewable, but it is a certain amount of danger to it. I mean, it's safe, but the waste it produces, we don't know what effect that's going to have. Hundreds of years down the line, we don't know the effect it will have. We're having to bury this toxic waste from the fission process, and fusion still seems a fair way off. We're not close yet to perfecting fusion. In the meantime, we're relying on this dangerous fission process, which really could potentially in the future cause more harm than good. We don't know. It's a bit like smoking. In the 30s and 40s, everyone thought smoking was good for you. People smoked all the time, and they thought, yes, this is fine. And then, years down the line, we find it causes lung cancer, and then people are dying of lung cancer. And like I say, we don't know. It's the same here. We don't know. We think it's fine now, and maybe 50 years down the line, we find this nuclear waste could then cause a massive problem for us. We just don't know. And then I go back to this idea of renewable energy. It could be used. Fracking, do we really need it, or could we use renewable energy? We have wind farms already. Yes, they're not the most economical, but like you say, they say we need more if we are going to make it economical. And I say we've started, why not continue with it? there must be places in the UK for it. Yes, I don't. Yes, it might get in the way of birds sometimes, but surely we can find sites where birds aren't. Offshore. Places offshore where we've already done some of those. Why can't we find more offshore places to put these wind farms? Excuse me. And yeah, and like I say as well, solar power maybe not the most economical in the UK, but could it be used? Possibly. Possibly. Even that small amount of energy it might produce is one step closer to taking us away from nuclear energy and fossil fuels. And some people protest about wind farms. They say too much noise or it ruins the landscape. I don't know. Personally, I've been near wind farms and I didn't hear much noise. I actually think they look rather nice on the landscape. I don't know. It might just be me, but I sort of like them. Really, they are sort of there, and that's just my opinion. I know everyone may not like them, and I can understand that people may not like them, but perhaps sometimes sacrifices may have to be made in order to invest in our future. As I say it, sometimes perhaps you have to dig deeper in order to get out of the hole you're in. And it may sound a very odd way to put it, but that's just how I see it. You've got to put something. You've got to make a sacrifice, put something in to get things out at the end. And yeah, other things. We've got the Severn Estuary, perfect for tidal power and possibly hydroelectric. But will we use it? No, because people think there are environmental issues with it, and yes, there are. But then we've also got to think: do those outweigh the fact that we could be then saving the planet later on? Yes, there may be some problems, but will, in the long term, it help the planet? If it could take us away from fossil fuels, will it not help the planet? And, sorry, I realise I'm getting slightly off topic here with this, and we go back to the issue of fracking. Do we really need it? Do we need this fracking process? We don't know. We don't know how dangerous it could or could not be. There have been earthquakes from it. Are we actually destabilising this, the geology of the United Kingdom? Is this actually safe, or could it potentially prove dangerous? We don't know. As I go back to the smoking analogy, we didn't know back then, and we do now. If we do this now, will we not regret it in the future? And I realise this is just one opinion. We could look at it from the other side. We do need fracking. Renewable energy isn't actually going to provide for our energy needs in the future, and we need this fracking. It's going to, it'll provide us with energy. It's going to provide, it's long term. The US has already benefited a lot from it. We could be looking at, energy, we could be, self-reliant. We wouldn't need other countries to provide us with our power. We could have all the power we needed in the UK, and that would be absolutely brilliant. It would show, sustainable, us being sustainable, and perhaps help the UK economy. You don't know, perhaps provide jobs. You never know where it might go. But at the same time, I see what people are saying. I see what they're saying about, do we need fracking? We're just digging ourselves deeper into this reliance on fossil fuels. Do we really need it? It could, I reckon it would damage our landscape a whole lot more than if we put a few wind farms out there. I just can't see why people are wanting to continue this quest for fossil fuels when in fact renewable energy could be the way. Do we want to keep on destroying our planet, or do we want perhaps to invest and in the short term may be uneconomical? There may be some environmental impacts which sadly happen. As much as I don't want them to happen, sadly they might happen. But in the long term, would we be saving the planet? Would we slow down this process of global warming? I believe global warming is a natural process. It is going to happen eventually. We're in a constant cycle of warming and cooling with this planet, but we have massively sped it up. Could we slow this process down? Could we start, even as the probably most intelligent life form on this planet, could we not give something back? Could we not actually be responsible and think about the planet, not just think about ourselves, but think about all the other organisms that live on this planet, just from the big animals to the small animals to the plants to the trees to everything else? Could we not think about them as well? And could we move away from things like fracking to renewable energy? And those are the questions I pose. And now I hope I've not gone on for too much about this. I hope I've not gone too much off topic. I hope, I've just, asked some questions and made people think. I hope I've not been too biased. And I know this is my first time doing this, and I realise it may not be very good. And like I say, if it has been informative, then that's great. If it hasn't, then I apologise. But, I hope I've been able to pose a few questions here and ask, do we really need fracking? Is this what we need in this country? Or should we look more into renewable energy sources and perhaps invest in our future that way? I've been LandlessGuy, and thank you for listening.